to practice.
to prepare.
Who are all these wicked people in the chat box? Say no
And
excuse.
today there are now 33. This is like this will be a global shame now because excuses here and there.
And it's recorded.
I started recording the session now. See, guys, let's not disgrace ourselves. We can just tell them that we are so tired.
So what will happen is we'll just give them, more like a framework, a model on how the answers are, how you answer these questions. Elizabeth, right? So I think that's what
I
we're
agree with you, Seb. I totally agree with you because I'm not in my element today, to be honest.
I will look for your element. Is your element is your element fire or water?
Rita is supposed to be here. I know she just escaped this one.
Hey.
I'm going to send Rita a message now. She can't escape. She has been the one that has been hard on these people.
Hey, God. Okay.
Voila.
I think we can get started, right? So let me send Rita a message that they're about to crucify us if she doesn't join.
I know.
Oh gosh. Thank you, Lord.
Okay. Ngozi is just writing the people that have been interviewing her. She's like, Rita, Munira, Ito. Don't worry, it's not going to be them that you're going to ask. So maybe they're going to come and say, you can go to the WhatsApp group. They're all in the WhatsApp group. Go and tell them to join. Go and tell them to join. So we'll wait for 2 more minutes and then we will start. I've sent the message to Rita. I hope she's home yet.
Yeah, because I think she usually
was at work all day.
Yeah.
She has gotten home yet.
But they say power has changed hands.
It has, though. It has.
Well, I'll just act like my network is bad. Hello, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
I think I'm frozen.
Hello.
So we are going to pick 3 interviewers from the group, 3 volunteers. If you want to interview us, you want to be our panel, so raise your hand quickly. We are going to pick just 3 people.
Martin, you're making this thing difficult. I think I'm thinking we're supposed to have questions we want to answer.
No, we have questions we want to answer. I will tell them the question to ask us.
Wait, okay. Don't worry.
We'll tell them the questions to ask us. Okay, so there's Ngozi. Who else want to interview us apart from Ngozi?
They said, Seb, they said UK has good network. I'm not okay.
Interviewer number 2.
Thank God.
Okay. So guys, the idea behind this is that you would hear us respond to some of the questions we've been asking you so far, right? So that you can have something to think about on how these questions will be asked. The point of this is not that we are prepared or we've been thinking or we have like model answers to give you. It's just so that you can see how you can have a conversation in trying to produce a response. It's just something that you could think around. When you eventually sit in front of your panel and they ask you a question you did not practice for, you did not rehearse, you did not prepare, and all of that. That's the idea behind all of this. So if you can hear us, we are going to go straight right into the session. So Ngozi will be selecting you as interviewer number 1. Right?
Interviewer that does not have video on is not an interviewer, please.
Sorry, I'm here. I'm here. My video it's not a video. So
okay.
I'm
going to put the questions in the chat box, the questions that you ask in the chat box, right? Let me try to get the questions up and then put them in the chat box.
I'm sorry, I should put these questions in the chat box.
I am going to put the questions in the chat box.
Oh, okay.
So those are the questions that we will be answering or will be attempting to answer, right? So yes, you have the floor, Ngozi, and you have scholars who are ready to be asked questions.
These questions, it did not align with my own question. But okay, no problem. So should I pick each person? Should I pick somebody to answer each question?
We are here, we are interview candidates.
So like there are 3 people and powers have really changed hands. So now I have 3 interviews and there's only 1 panelist.
Yes.
Please, okay.
Sorry, Martins. Okay, is on this call.
Hi, Oga, please show yourself.
I know did the call. I know did the call. Just join a big. No, me join.
Joel, please, University of Success, come and represent.
I know
that. I know that. My message is guys.
Mona continue, I beg.
Okay, now for now.
I did with you.
Already, do you want to explain what you put in the chat box?
He's asking a question to he's adding a question to your list of questions.
Oh, I see.
Okay, Temi, they said I should ask you first.
Please.
So hello, Martins, Temi, Joseph, and Chowe. Thank you very much for making out the time to come to this interview. I am your lead panelist, sub-panelist. I'm the whole of your panel.
Lead panelist, excuse me, please.
Okay, go on, Joseph.
I know the excuses have been too many, but this is a genuine excuse. I don't know about Temi and Martins, but I'm not prepared. So I will try and give you answers because of course I attended the interview, but they won't be structured. You know, you will not see that finesse or finesse. You not see it in my answers. It would be crude. You understand? So please just pardon me in case you get answers like that.
Joseph, they say I'm supposed to always be prepared. So I don't understand. You're always supposed to be prepared. So I don't understand.
Power sweet.
So my first question will be going to Temi. Right? Temi, are you ready?
Temi Lulua. Yes, I'm ready.
Okay. So why did you choose your first choice course?
Come again what you said. I didn't hear you.
Tell us why you chose your first choice course and why the UK.
All right, thank you very much for that question. Sorry, what's your name? Thank you very much for that question, Ngozi. My first choice course was, I'm going to talk about my second choice course because I got rejected for my first choice course, so that you understand the answer. But I'm going to assume that's my first choice course. But my first choice course was Financial Econometrics at the University of Essex, Colchester, England. And why I chose the course was first because that was always what I wanted to study right from when I was a child. I've loved econometrics right from my undergrad in my 4th year in the Lagos State University, the Department of Economics. I got introduced to econometrics by my supervisor. And from that time, I learned the concept of correlation matrices, how to interpolate data, how to collect data, how to analyze data using eViews, and my love for econometrics sparked up. And that was why I decided to further in a master's in financial econometrics. Now, why I chose this master's at the University of Essex was because first, the University of Essex is the number 4 university in the UK for research power in economics and econometrics. And this shows that the university takes so much interest in how the quality of their research that's coming from the Department of Economics. And this league table was conducted by the RAF in 2022, choosing the University of Essex as the number 4 in the UK for econometrics. Another reason why I chose the University of Essex first was because the Essex Business School is the first business school in the UK to have a zero carbon business school. And this, my passion for climate change, for environmental sustainability, got me interested. The fact that that school had the first zero carbon business school in the UK got me interested in the university. And this was how my first love for the University of Essex started. Now, why the UK? The UK, did you ask why the UK? Sorry. What?
Yes, I did.
Yes, I think that's part of the question.
All right, thank you very much. Why the UK? Why did I choose the UK? Okay, okay, this question. Why did I choose the UK? I don't remember. But first off, the UK offers diverse courses and diverse world-class institutions across the world. You would see a lot of institutions in the United Kingdom that has quality research prowess, quality in institutional structure, quality and diversity and inclusion in their universities. And I chose 3 universities in the UK, as everyone did. And the first university I chose was the London School of Economics, then the University of Essex, and then the University of Sussex. And these 3 institutions are leading institutions in various sectors. And the UK just offers you diverse course choices, diverse, not just course choices, but course choices that are structured in a way that you get to study what you love, and you also get to study, what you're passionate about altogether. Another reason why I chose the United Kingdom for me was because I'm so much invested in Okay, sorry, I thought you were talking to me. I'm so much invested in culture. I'm so much invested in history. And the UK offers me the opportunity to delve into history and philosophy. As a lover of arts, I chose the United Kingdom because of, this factor. Another reason why I chose the United Kingdom, sorry, I'm so sorry. I didn't get the structuring of your question. Can you repeat the question again? So I know I'm answering your question. That was a mistake, sorry.
Well, I asked, why did you choose your first choice course and why the UK?
Okay, sorry. Circling back to my first choice course. My first choice course was financial econometrics, like I talked about at the University of Essex. And I have a certain professor, Dr. Sambat Bhattacharya, and Dr. Albert Chambers at the Department of Economics in the University of Essex. And these 2 lecturers, one is a visiting professor and one is a standard professor at the university. Dr. Chambers wrote the book on capitalism that I used in my undergraduate studies. And to have the opportunity to learn from Professor Chambers was just mind-blowing for me, because I read his book while I was studying my undergrad in economics at the Lagos State University. I read this book in my 2nd year, 3rd year, and my 4th year, and we used this book in every step of our economics, macroeconomics especially. And to see that I will be under the tutelage of Professor Chambers at the business school and also at the Department of Economics was just a selling point for me. Another reason why I chose the financial econometrics course was because of the module structure. When you look at the module structure at the University of Essex, and not just the module structure generally, because the module structure differs, but when you look at the module structure at the University of Essex, you will see that it not just includes standard econometric modules, but it also finds a way to bring together financial modeling and econometrics modeling. And this way you are not just learning one structuring of econometrics, but you are also able to apply this knowledge. We use the trading floor. The University of Essex has a trading floor where we trade with Bloomberg raw data, right, live data and raw data, and every student has access to these to the Bloomberg account and the Bloomberg portal. So because of this, we are able to apply what we learn. So we don't just learn in class and learn modules, learn structures, learn formulas and stuff, but we are also able to apply this knowledge in the trading floor, trading real world data, using econometrics models to trade real world data. We're also taught software structuring, R, MATLAB, eViews, and this just interested me so much when I wanted to choose this course, because it's not just about what you learn, but how you apply what you learn. And that was what influenced me. my course structuring and my course choice at the University of Essex. Thank you. I'm done.
Okay, so how are we going to do this? Should I be giving feedback or should we move on and later?
Why are you?
I want to know now.
Ask the other of us now. Say we are not here.
Okay. My next question is to Joseph. Joseph, how are you?
I'm fine, Gozi. I'm good.
What do you think are the qualities of a good leader, and tell us about a leader who has influenced you?
This is Martins.
But this one is even simple.
I can hear you.
Why is this simple? What made it simple?
Should I change the question?
Okay, let me try. Like, genuinely, I didn't prepare for this question, but let me try because I actually have someone that I admire. I admire as well. Okay, thank you very much, Ms. Ngozi, for your question. So for me, leadership is all about solving problems, taking responsibility, and influencing people into positive action. And so far, I've been able to exemplify this in my life, and I've also seen this in the leaders that I admire, one of which is Miss Aruma Ote. And Aruma Ote, as a 2008, during the global financial crisis, there was, turmoil in the global financial industry. And it was more intense in Nigeria, where typically we have, corruption, we have poor financial regulation, and we have individuals doing different kinds of market manipulation. So the Securities and Exchange Commission needed someone, to help provide solutions to the problems. And that was when Maute came on board under the leadership of President, I think Goodluck Jonathan or Yaradua. I think Goodluck Jonathan. And so the stock market plummeted. Most companies, started exiting the market, delisted from the Nigerian Stock Exchange. So when she came in, she started by ensuring that some of the individuals that were doing crazy things, on the market, performing market manipulation, doing rogue trading, committing securities fraud, she started by eradicating them from the market. She even went she went to the big guys, the big wigs, and ensure that remove them from the market. A typical example was Aliko Dangote, who was the president of Nigerian Stock Exchange, I think, prior to when I joined. And you could imagine how powerful that Dangote was and is. But Aruma Ote made sure that Dangote left office. And the DG of the Securities and Exchange of Nigerian Stock Exchange as well, Ndidi Okereke, I think, she also um, ensured that Ndidi Okereke left office. And that brought a couple of, brought sanity into the markets. Stock markets, stock market started improving. We got many companies getting listed on the exchange, and good things started happening. And her story is really inspiring because not only was she able to do this in an environment where it is difficult to eradicate or curb corruption, but she did it as a woman. And we know how difficult it is for a woman to tackle such kind of challenges. So that's a typical example of what leadership is to me. Daring and taking up responsibility, seeing a problem and ensuring you provide effective and sustainable solutions to those problems, and also inspiring people. Someone like me, I got inspired, and almost everybody in the financial regulatory space in Nigeria also got inspired. And she went on to ensure she passed this quality over to people that came after her. The CEO of Nigerian Stock Exchange as well, the name of Oscar Onyema, got on board and continue with her legacy. And so far, I think the Nigerian Stock Exchange has been doing incredibly well. And there's been some level of sanity in the Securities and Exchange Commission. So that she is the leader that actually I admire greatly, and I think she's actually influenced me. She exemplified the qualities that I see leadership as.
Okay, thank you very much, Joseph.
Yeah.
Choe, are you ready for your question?
You see my face for the poster. My face no dey na Elizabeth.
Oh, yeah, here's that you're here.
Joseph.
Now that you made it to my interview session, you have to answer questions. Thank you very much. Choe, please tell us how you build and maintain professional networks.
More our friends, we don't get all the new friends we get. Don't get
Okay,
different. Yeah, this one. I don't
okay,
see
thank you very much for that question. So basically, how I network, I usually network by volunteering and also by joining relevant communities. So for example, as a qualified accountant, I'm currently a member of the Association of Certified Chartered Accountants, ACCA, which is a global accounting body. And how I build my network is majorly by giving to the community I belong to, while I'm also looking to benefit from the community as well. So an example would be in 2017, during my NYSC, I met the business relationship manager of ACCA office in Port Harcourt, and that was how my ACCA journey actually began. And I started my examination in around 2018 as well, and also completed the examination stage of my ACCA membership around 2021. And during this period, I built a very strong relationship with the business relationship manager. I kept on updating her about my progress, my scores in my examination. She was always up to date. And after completing my examination and moving into membership, I decided I wanted to actually practice and gain practical experience in auditing and also financial accounting as well. So I reached out to Ms. Adaobi, and I told her about my aspirations, and she was able to connect me with employers in Port Harcourt then, and I was able to gain an interview, which I aced, and I got employed as an audit and tax associate in 2021. So I was able to maintain this relationship by also giving her a gift to appreciate her efforts, in supporting my career. And also the larger ACCA network, I've been able to maintain my that network by paying my dues, which I'm supposed to do, and also attracting other prospective ACCA future members to the body by telling them about ACCA, the benefits, and how it can actually improve on their career. And most importantly, I also currently volunteer as a tutor and a mentor virtually, and also with one of the leading ACCA tuition centers in Nigeria, TNSS, the new synergy specialist in Nigeria. And basically, I maintain my network by giving to any community I find myself, while I'm also trying to benefit from the community as well, and also by giving gifts and showing appreciation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Choe. And Martin, who will be asking you, you're the final interviewee, right? So, Martin, what are your career plans?
Oh, my career plans. Sorry, let me launch this poll quickly. Rita is on the call for the records, in case you want to ask it instead of me.
Oh, okay, no problem. So after you read them.
Okay.
I hope you're seeing the bombastic side eye that I'm giving you.
I can see it. It's deliberate. I can see that as well. Okay,
Rita,
so we have other polls up for responses. Please, let's try to respond to the polls. Okay. What are my career plans? Currently, my work has actually supported ministries of health in Sudan, Nepal, Indonesia, and even in the most recent times, I completed a project with the DRC and Abu Dhabi. With UNICEF. We were looking to see how we could reduce stress-based coping mechanisms for people who are actually malnourished or severely, acutely malnourished children that are under 5. And that has been without the help of Chevening. Upon my return from my studies in the UK, I do intend to not just start to develop or design these interventions that have really improved access to nutritious foods or access to vaccinations and maternal health strategies. I actually also want to see how would I create a network of public health researchers in Nigeria immediately. I would be leveraging associations and networks like the Chevening alumni community, and also with people like Munira, for example. Please remember that this is not reality. And Munira, and we are going to start up a public health research fellowship for people who are looking to transit from undergraduate to collect data and also do M&E frameworks. The next thing we want to do is, we currently have a solution called PreggyPal that we already have tested across 4 states in Nigeria. PreggyPal is an AI-assisted chatbot that allows you to ask pregnancy-related questions. All you have to do is just type in a question and it will respond to you, because these things are quite anonymous. Things you could share on a public scale will be like, okay, I'm pregnant, or I think I'm pregnant, I had unprotected sex, I'm really not sure. We want to increase access for young people to have access to this kind of thing and confidentially request family planning tools and methods, right? Then, if I bring this tool to the MPHCDA, which I currently have existing relationship with, I intend to ask them to actually test it and also speak to Said Gaya so that we can put it in a grant alongside Chisom OBJF for BMGF funding, so we can scale up this solution in Nigeria to the 36 states. In 3 to 5 years, while these solutions are being implemented, I'll be working as a management consultant with the Clinton Health Access Initiative. And the only reason I am sure that I'll be working there is because I already have worked there before. We worked across 3 states, Kano, Lagos, and Niger, to reduce postpartum hemorrhage. And I have existing relationships there. And the work there currently ties into cost effectiveness analysis for introducing new drugs. I intend to not just foster public health research, but also introduce new ways of evaluating effective interventions as a management consultant with Clinton Health Access Initiatives. If I keep working along these lines for about 4 to 5 years or 6 years, I think I would then be ready to go into private consulting. And by this time, I should also start looking at how I would retire into professional tutoring. I really am interested in lecturing. I would pursue my PhD afterwards and then move on into lecturing in the long run. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Martins. Rita, good evening. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you, Ngozi. Good evening.
Okay, Rita, tell us about yourself and why you should be awarded the Chevening Scholarship.
Thank you very much for your question, Ngozi. My name is Rita Uzoma Ukuno, and I am a legal practitioner. I have practiced law as a litigation associate for the past 5 years. I graduated from the University of Nigeria with a second class upper degree and proceeded to the Nigerian Law School sometime in 2018. Since my graduation, I've been in human rights law practice and litigation practice, and I have impacted lives in human rights law practice. I have worked in several capacities. I've worked as a legal practitioner with a very top tier law firm in southeastern Nigeria for the past 5 years. And aside that, I've also undertaken several certifications in human rights law, especially with regards to girl-child rights, with Young African Leaders Initiative and Coursera. I also recently founded a nonprofit organization called the Uriel Foundation, which is aimed at promoting economic inclusion for the girl child, or for women rather, and also improving financial independence for women. So far, we have impacted over 2,000 young women in southeastern Nigeria by equipping them with formal and informal skills needed to, improve their financial independence. Now I'm at the stage in my career where I'm ready to undertake a master's degree. And I intend to, undertake a master's degree in the United Kingdom through the Chevening Scholarship. I believe that the Chevening Scholarship would give me the much needed advantage that I need to undertake a master's degree. Aside totally catering for the cost of my master's degree, it's also going to expose me to the much needed network, that I require to gain so much value and basically come back to Nigeria and impact, especially in the industry that is, that's catered towards ensuring that female children or gender equality is properly addressed and that female children are properly amped up, for financial independence in Nigeria. And why do I think that I should be awarded the Chevening Scholarship? The Chevening Scholarship is a scholarship that is focused on, leadership. It's focused on improving and it's focused on improving leaders, global leaders. But aside that, it is focused not just on theoretical education, but also focused on building character. And I want to be part of, the global leaders that, the Chevening Scholarship trains. And I also want to improve not just on in my niche as a gender equality advocate or a girl child rights advocate, but also in my personal character and also in areas like critical thinking and development and all that. Further, I also think that the Chevening Scholarship is perfect for me because it would also help to improve and boost my network. From its over 60,000 scholars, I want to be, associated with the crop of network that, Chevening offers. And finally, I could obviously not pass up the opportunity to have, the burden of that burden that is that financial burden, exactly, the financial burden, lifted off my shoulders so that I can focus more on achieving my career goals. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Rita. So can I give feedback now?
Sure.
Okay, so thank you very much, everybody. For Temi, hi. Please, I'm using God to beg you, you should pray for her. Temi, where's Temi? Is she still here?
Hi, what's up? I'm with you.
Okay, so hi Temi, thank you very much for indulging. So here is a few things I wrote down. You said you've always wanted to study econometrics since you were a child.
Yes, sorry.
Oh, okay. And then, I think you lost track of the question at some point because you were answering why you chose your school. Meanwhile, the question was why you chose your course and the UK. And in fact, I don't know if I'm giving feedback or I'm even asking a question because I think every other person except Rita did this. We've always been told you have to tie all your answers back to the Chevening Scholarship. So far, the only person who actually tied her response back to Chevening was Rita. So every other person was just responding. So I'm asking, are we allowed to not always tie our answers back to Chevening?
No, you are not allowed. This is a crude answer. It's not structured like Seb told you. So it just to give you an idea on how you have to answer your own. You're not allowed. You have to always tie your answers back to Chevening. We're already Chevening scholars, so sorry if we did not tie it back to Chevening.
Can I respond?
On that, okay, yes, please, sure.
Okay, so basically, from my own experience and the questions, because again, it depends on the question, it's possible to always tie it back to Chevening, like when you're concluding. I think that's also a very good one. But just in case some persons might go for the interview and might forget to do so after giving very, very good responses. So you don't go back to your house and you don't have a good night's rest. You don't have rest of mind. In my case, I didn't do that for Yeah, I don't think I did that. I didn't round up. I didn't conclude by tying it back to Chevening. I think I only did when it was like relevant. The question actually required me to tie it to Chevening. So I think an example was my career plan. And yeah, my career plan was when I think I really tied it to Chevening. I was talking about my career plan. So it's very good because it's competitive. So it's a very good way to respond to the question. Very, very good way. When you're concluding, you tie it back to Chevening just with a conclusion. But in case you probably missed that part during your interview, don't worry yourself too much about it. That's I'm speaking from my own experience.
Okay, thank you very
Yeah.
much for that.
So
Does
let me
anybody?
just to lay, yeah, just
Okay.
to lay emphasis on that. Ogene gave a very valid response, but just like Elizabeth said, this is not structured, and I think that's why we forgot. And like for me, I acknowledge that I was never expecting that question. I didn't practice. But as you're going for an interview, to be very honest with you, most of the questions would center on your essays, and those 4 essays are questions that Chevening asks you. So if you're answering any question, especially on leadership, networking, career plan, and study plan, especially those 4 questions, try and tie it back to Chevening. Okay. So we made a mistake and we forgot. Yeah, I particularly forgot. Otherwise, I would have tied man back to Chevening. But in the event where you forget, you end up forgetting tying it back to Chevening. You don't need to worry so much. As long as you've given very quality answers, then you don't need to worry so much. But if you can't, please, while you're practicing, ensure in your practice you factor in tying everything back to Chevening. So I don't know. I'm not in the reading committee or interviewing committee, but I believe it's going to give you a competitive advantage. Just for emphasis sake. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, thank you very much, Joseph.
Okay.
Martins.
So this is it. The reason we are having this session is so that you could see possible mistakes that we would make, right? And so that you would see how it can be when you do not structure your response, right? For instance, I'm doing polling, I'm doing several other things on my screen at the same time, and I'm also trying to respond at the same time, right? I'm not saying that that's an excuse and stuff like that. The rest of the questions that came up in my interview, right? Because my interview lasted over an hour. The rest of the questions that came up in my interview was because of the work I had done, right? And so they were like pokings done in the several things I had said that I had done that made the conversations to be long. For example, the man said to me that he was a Chevening scholar and he was also a Commonwealth scholar from years back, right? Which made him legendary, and he was working in public health. So he pointed at a project that he did that was similar to a project that I did. I think there is noise in the background. He pointed at the project that he did and then something similar and all of that. And then I now said to him, he now said, have I used that method before? Right? I had not used that method before. I said, no, I had not used that method before. In a scenario like that, one of the things that I feel personally helps me, right, is I cannot tell you that I've done what I have not done. Or in a bid to show that I know it, start to say, oh, maybe I'll not guess. Maybe he says, what is the meaning of the 3 C's, right? And then I now say, okay, the 3 C's mean C for chover, C for coconut, and C for cocaine, and stuff like that. If I do that kind of thing, I have ruined myself, right? I have missed out on the opportunity because not only do I not know what he's asking, right? I am pretending like I know what he's asking. I am assuming a form of knowledge, right? I rather would say that I don't know what he's asking, or I've forgotten, or in this mode or in this tense situation right now, I cannot remember what those abbreviations might mean. So there might be situations in your interview, I think from my perspective, right? There might be situations in your interview where you might need to put a reality buffer in your response, right? And be sure that, oh, your career plan, even though it's going to be long or short or whatever, I said in my response that I understand how difficult it is to get a job. I know it's quite easy to assume that upon my return and all of that kind of stuff, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. But I know that it's going to be quite difficult to get a job. So, which is why I'm going to do something I already know I have access to, right? For example, if I was a medical doctor and I had Saturdays free, I could say that I want to start volunteering with Red Cross to be giving checkups for people who are in IDPs and all of that. And that's something I can do with side girl, a friend who is interested in it. The point is, reality buffers are things that we should check out for in our responses. It doesn't mean that we are weak. It just means that we are confident of the fact that we might make mistake and we can show those vulnerability without it ruining our chance, right? I think that's the perspective in mistakes that people make during interviews. So you try to pretend that you know exactly what you are being asked when you are not really sure what the point is. Don't go and make that kind of mistake, right? And you get into that place and you forget everything that you had prepared. You can still think through and put yourself together and create a response that is really, really, really what you have done, or it's part of what you have been preparing over time. You just have to think and maybe take a break or something. I think that's my perspective. So other scholars are here, they will also tell you what mistakes they think you can avoid or what experience they had that you can actually learn from as well. That's the point of this session, because it's going to be the last group session we'll be having for global wins. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Max and Rita. Do you have something to say?
Yeah, before you continue your feedback, so that's the thing, right? You guys, your brain is interview sharp at this point. What is in my head now is, you know, how many shifts I have, what's my this one, how many assignments have I not done? So I'm not exactly. We are not exactly interview sharp, but you guys are actively preparing for the interview. I would love to believe that you're actively preparing for the interview. So, in fact, I would even expect you to spot more issues in all the responses we've given here. All of you that are doing excellent, excellent. Are you trying to say you did not notice? In fact, as I was talking, if you saw when I did my eyelines, I was like, fuck up. I had already seen like 10 problems with my answer as I was saying it. So I'm expecting you to give me like a lot of issues in my answer, first of all, because that will show that, first of all, you can spot the issues in the first place. And then if you can spot an issue, you'd be able to at least stop yourself from making that kind of mistake. That's what I think. So don't now take the answer that we're giving here as the is all and would be all and everything. It's rife with issues as well. So yes, what you should look at is the structure, which is what I tried to make clear, okay, as I started. But the answer itself is not what you should target. Target the structure, and then look for the issues and say, oh, see, she's doing this, she's not supposed to be doing that. Oh, I'll make a mental note to do it. And then look at yourself too. Without anybody telling you, there's some things you know that you do. For some people that do a lot of you should know that, oh, me, I know that I used to do a lot. So when you're practicing for your interview, that's one thing you should be, conscious about, because it comes across as uncertain. For those that like to use we a lot, you know that I like to use we a lot. When you're practicing for your interview, that's another thing you should be conscious about. I always like to use we. So you record yourself over and over again until you get it. For those whose star approach does not show very well, you say, it's true. When I do this thing with Rita last time, she said that my star approach was not showing. Okay, if I'm the one listening to myself now, let me see. Record yourself voice note and play it back and listen to yourself and see whether, put yourself in the body of an independent listener and see whether you can hear your own star approach. If you cannot hear your situation, the task and your action, then your result, then know that you're not, something is up somewhere, So these are all the things like just now. I feel like for those that are having interviews between now and the end of March, right now, like your answers should even be ready. What you should be doing, if you've not done your, I'm laughing because one of my mentees is here. And she just entered the meeting not too long ago. I'm just laughing at you. Your interview is coming up 20 something. You've not shown me your answers. So your answer should be ready now. What you should be doing now is that you are reviewing, reviewing, and reviewing. You're reviewing your answers, reviewing and reviewing, because obviously the answer you start with is not the answer that you probably say at the interview. And let me tell you something, it's not everything you practice that you say at your interview, like Martin said. You will forget something to align. You might not say every exact thing. You understand? You might forget some things. You might even go there, you might add something. See, the interview is a very fluid place. That's why I tell you, don't cram. Leave room for some fluidity, because you never know. You might go there and something will just come to you, and you're like, oh, wow, why don't I do this instead? And then it will be the clincher. So leave some room for fluidity. Don't cram. Prepare well, such that, but don't now kill yourself if you go there and let me give you a tip. If you come out of your interview, my first interview, I've gone for the Chevening interview twice. My first interview, I came out knowing that I don't mess up. I was just praying to God to have mercy on me. You know that prayer where you're like, God, I know that even with my own human understanding, so that I've messed this interview up. And I know that even if it's me, I will not even give me the Chevening, God said. I know. But I was just like, God, but I'm your child. You said you've given the nations unto us. Show me mercy. Well, we all know that I'm not sure I make it. And it did not stop God from being a merciful God, because even me, I know that I did not do well. I know in my heart of hearts. When you come out of that interview room, you will know. Sometimes you will just know. You will just know. Because this is my second interview, nobody told me. As I was leaving, I knew. See, they did not give me this Chevening this time around. I was going to stand in front of FC Secretariat because I knew. There's just that thing. When you know you've exhausted yourself, there's nothing remaining. What else do you want to ask me that I've not said? I've said it all. I've laid it at your feet. I've told you everything. Like, I have done my best. You know. So practice to that point that even you will beat your chest and you say, yes, me, I've practiced to the best of my ability. I've done the best I can do. Even if you squeeze me, nothing will come. If you squeeze me, Chevening will be coming out. Okay. Practice to that point, so that when you go there and you do the best that you do your best, at least you will leave there knowing that you've done your best. Do you understand? So I feel like if you ask most scholars, please, you guys, I mean, only me. When you came out of the interview, did you just have a feeling you were going to get it?
I knew.
Seb, what about you?
Just like you said, if I had not got it, I would have gone straight to the British High Commission and asked them questions, because the one before, just like you as well, I got to the reserve list, and deep down I knew I didn't deliver 100%. I wasn't really sure. I was like, God have mercy. If it happens, fine. If it doesn't, prepare better. But the second one that I did, with my suit, my sharp suit, and the compliment I got, immediately I was leaving. Like, the lady stood up, the chief panelist stood up, choked me, and walked me out of the door. And we're all
Me too.
smiling and chatting. I was like, Steph, you are going to the United Kingdom. Not village people cannot do anything, So, and and it was possible, just like you said as well, because I prepared. Fortunately for me, I delivered. So you would know, you would have that, you would have that sign. Nothing is certain, but you would have that sign. Most of the time, you have that sign. And I don't know if you have something else more things to say, but I just want to point out. And that's for those preparing for the interview, listening to us. And I like what Martins did. I like to be as original as possible. So before we came for this, ask me any question and mock interview, we're thinking, especially the conversation I have with Martins, that what we're going to give you guys would be a model answer, more like a template. But I think when he did some reverse psychology and all the questions, I don't know about Elizabeth, which I think that's still the case, or Gene and Rita. I never expected the questions that I got. And that's to expose our vulnerabilities and to tell you that these are the mistakes you may likely see. And if you could listen to me, I don't even know those giving me excellent. I wouldn't give myself excellent, because
I swear.
I think you like me. That's why you're giving me excellent.
They're lying.
I appreciate that, honestly.
You not get it, sorry.
I appreciate that. When I was giving my answer, I was like, this is a global shame. Joseph, look at what you are on a recorded
I
session.
swear.
Excellent.
I started people will finish me today. Me, I used to finish people. I thought they will finish me.
You understand? So I'm like, this is a global shame. But thank you very much for liking me and giving me that rating. So the point is, if you are, it's a right psychology thing. You are in that position where Ngozi is, and you should be able to spotlight most of our mistakes. If you don't even see any mistakes in what we've done or what we did, then you're not prepared for this interview. Honestly, you are not prepared. So that's the essence. And again, I give it to Martins for scamming me and scamming other scholars. So, and I think it works better. And the second one is, as we'll continue with the feedback, as she's also giving feedback, you would see some of the things that, okay, you could imagine the question she asked, which was tied to one of the feedback tips she wanted to give about time chevening, adding chevening to almost all your responses. And if not that we did this thing now, she wouldn't have given the opportunity for us to revalidate some of these things. Okay. So my point is ensure that all the responses you heard from Elizabeth, Martins, Rita, myself, Ogene, that you're able to spot many mistakes and you're taking those mistakes and you're incorporating them into your own preparation. Then another tip I would give is to be original. I just the way you are, I was going to get the Chevening scholarship. If I given this kind of answer, I know I wouldn't get a Chevening scholarship. But the only thing I am sure of while giving my answer was this is something that I own. Like Aruma Ote is not an arbitrary figure, is not an abstract individual. Some of you know her. She's someone I like. She's someone that I look forward to, doing things with in the future. So she's a leader I admire. My point is, even though I didn't prepare for that question, even though I didn't see it coming, I actually have a leader that I admire in my field. And there's some form of originality, authenticity in my response. That's what you should aim at. Try and be as original and authentic as possible. I'm doing risk and finance, and one of the things I've learned about risk management is you have to do your best to prepare, to prevent any risk that may happen. But some risks cannot be mitigated. What you do is you avoid them or you transfer them. What you have to do is, as you're preparing, prepare for almost all the questions possible you can think of. All the questions you can conjure in your brain, prepare for them. But you may be surprised on that day. And if you're surprised, what will save you is the fact that you've really practiced. You own your candidacy. Like you own your profile, you own your story. And if you own your story, you own your candidacy, you've internalized these things like you are your story. I don't think there's any question that will be impossible to answer. Maybe you wouldn't give an excellent response, but it wouldn't be impossible for you to answer. Okay. Um, the other tip I would give, which I don't know the feedback that Ngozi has for us, but the mistake that I think we made is time management. For me in particular, I didn't time myself, and it got to a point where I almost lost track of what I was saying. I couldn't even remember the year that Aruma Ote got into office. I wasn't even sure if it was Goodluck Jonathan that was president or Yaradua, So you can't come to the interview and you are Aruma Ote was appointed by Goodluck Jonathan, or was it even Yaradua? I'm not sure. You cannot do this on the interview. You understand? You cannot. So you see the names during the essay part out, and I think that was when I watched one of Rita's YouTube videos. She also emphasized on that the question about who, what, why, where, when, how. You need to have these things that are your fingertips. If you're talking about someone you admire, if you're talking about an event, talking about an experience, you need to ensure your answer covers the who, the when, the what, the why. So if I'm talking about the who, Aruma Ote is there. Who else? Which other name? Is it Yaradua or Goodluck? And I'm not sure. That doesn't signify that I'm prepared for the interview. It doesn't. I wasn't even sure. Global financial crisis, of course, happened 27, 28. But 2015 was when she left office. And it was after I said she entered office 2015 that I remember that was even when she left office. If you're someone and you're in the financial services sector, which is most likely the case, one of the Chevening alumni you have on your panel would be someone in your sector, most likely 90% of the time. If I were on the panel and someone that claims to go study, that wants to study finance, doesn't know when global financial crisis happened, I would not rate you properly. I would not. You're giving your stories and you're trying to tell me a rumor hotel didn't come into office, or you mentioned global financial crisis, you're mentioning 2015. I know there's a mistake somewhere. Okay, so please just appreciate our vulnerabilities, appreciate the mistakes we've made, but use that to feed into your preparation. Feed into your preparation, and you don't need to worry so much. All you have to do is to prepare, practice, and be as original as possible. And don't get angry with Martin. So I don't know why he was angry. They won't do you a favor, pay your school fees, you the best. Why? So thank you
As
very
in
much.
Does the panel allow for documents? Someone is asking a question, okay, Kate Bethel, if they allow for documents during the interview, like documents you use during a particular project. So you don't need to take any document with you. The only documents you need are your documents, like your offer letters in case you've not uploaded them, your reference letters in case you've not uploaded them, your passport, like all these documents that you require. That's the only documents you require. You don't need to go and start carrying documents from this project and all that. It's not necessary. Some scholars have done it,
Yeah.
but it's not necessary. The idea is being able to persuade someone that you did something. Like if you do not do something, it's obvious. People that listen to you will know you did not do it, and they will catch you. They will catch you, and it will be doubly embarrassing for you. Because, like Seth just said, there's always someone in your panel that is in your field. And that's what happened to me when I finished explaining, what I did in the North during law school with the girl child and everything. As I just landed and I was like, mic drop. And then they said, okay, well, this thing you said you did, how did you manage to do this? Because I know that men in the North are not almost, I should ask me that question, I said, you don't know. You don't know that this Chevening is mine this year. You don't know. I feel like I prepared for that question, but I did it. You understand? I did that project. And that thing she said, I encountered it. So I was like, exactly. Thank you for even stating this. Yes, I encountered this challenge. And look at how I surmounted it. And coincidentally, I had even mentioned it in my answer, but I did not state like, I did not elaborate. So when she said that, I now elaborated. I was like, oh, when I said this in my answer, this was what I meant. Of course, the men don't listen. They don't like, so how did we, break that bias? How did we surmount this challenge? This was what we did. This was what we did. This was what she was like, ooh, okay. In fact, after I finished answering that, she now asked me, is this your first interview? Is this your first time here? I was like, no, it's not. She was like, no wonder. I said, I'm finishing you people. So that's the whole idea. Like, be so good that be so undeniably good. Like, everybody that just listens to you knows that, oh no, this person is ready for this opportunity, and be so persuasive with your story. Own your story. Be so persuasive that you don't need extra whatever to. Oh, Temi is raising up a hand. Okay, Temi.
I think Matt has raised his hand up first, so if he wants to go first.
Oh, I see.
So because we scheduled a very limited time for this session, so I wanted to just reiterate for those who are just joining, right? In case you are just joining the session, what we are doing here is you can ask us any questions you have, and we've just been previously interviewed so that we can provide like some closing tips. That's what we're doing. So in case you're just joining and you're wondering what exactly is going on, what exactly are they saying, that's the reason I needed to like bring that interview so that we can get it right. Now, Timmy, you can say what you want to say.
Okay.
Okay, it was just to kind of add to what Sep and Rita said concerning experiences and lessons learned. Like I always say to my mentees, you cannot go to the interview and not leave a mark there and expect to be chosen. There has to be something that your panel will remember you for. And like Martins always says, your interview is the opportunity to show them how you want to be perceived. I'll give you an example. I always mention this example. There is someone that was interviewed before me. He's a Chevening Scholar now. He's in our cohort. I was just right after him. And when he left, my panel were still talking about him while I was there. They were so excited about him. They were talking about him. Like, oh, the last guy that just came. And I'm like, bro, I'm standing in front of you. And they left a mark and then overdue, but you have to leave a mark and show them that you really want this thing. During my interview, after my interview, my panel said, you're so passionate about what you do. I can see it. And even this is a recorded session, so there are some things I want to say, but there was a mistake that one of my panel made that just told me that this is mine. This thing is mine. He obviously almost said it. So you have to actually leave a mark. And one thing I would say is, like Seb said, you have someone that is in your field that is there. For me, in my career plan essay, yeah, this is what I wanted to say. This is where I was coming to. Yesterday, the session I had, I told them that your career plan essay, you have to show that you know the steps it will take you to get to your grand plan. If your grand plan, just saying, is to be the Director General of the maybe World Health Organization or something, you have to show that you know the small steps that it will take you to get there. So you're not just saying, oh, I'll come back and I'll work here, I'll work there, and work there. It's really not easy to get a job. Everyone knows that. But if you know realistically the kind of effort you will put in, ceteris paribus, you will get there. That's what they're saying. So they are not saying, come and tell us, all the big things you want to do, but you don't know the steps it will take you to get there. You have to properly articulate it. During my interview, I was counter-asked questions. I tell people that I watched over 300 videos preparing for my interview. None of the 60 questions I prepared for came out. None of questions they were throwing, they were not easy with me. And one of the questions they asked me was, why do you want to be the Minister of Finance and not the Minister of Environment? Since I had so much, I worked in the climate education space, in the environmental sustainability space, why do you want to be the Minister of Finance and not the Minister of Environment? In fact, the way that question was asked was like, do you even know what you're saying? And I looked the guy in the eye and I said, no, this and this and these are the reasons why I want to do. And because I want to work in climate financing, and I showed them the process, I laid the template down for them. So it's not just about having grand goals and having big goals. It's, do you know what it takes to get there? So that's one of the mistakes that people make, and that I see sometimes when I read feedbacks and stuff from especially the career plan essay. You want to do big things, but you don't understand the steps it will take you to get there. And maybe you do understand the steps it will take you, that you need to get there, but you are not properly articulating those steps. And that's why they want to know about your career plan essay, so that they know that they are not just investing in you to come back and right after you don't understand what you want to do with your degree. It's a big investment. So that's why that question is actually there in the first place. They want to know that in the long run, will they receive, what is the expected return of their investment on your life? That's the point. That's just what I think.
Fantastic. And there's a question in the chat box, right? Those of you who have been silent so far, now is your time to unmute your mic and ask.
Martins, I think you should answer this question. The person that asked it, let him turn on his video and answer it.
The person that asked it. The person saying, what can I give to the answer?
Let him turn on his video. Corey, they turn on your video.
What is Peter? You are not merciful. Why are you not merciful?
No, because no. First of all, let him turn on his video. Okay, when is your date? When is your interview date?
Next week Tuesday.
Next week Tuesday, Abi. And you're asking me what makes you that is applying for Chevening, what makes you stand out for you? Why are you applying? What is so special about you that would make Chevening want to pick you?
All right.
All right, thank you. For me, I would say that Chevening is looking for an influential person and a person that has track record in his leadership experience that has been able to influence lives. And I will say that I have been able to, I've been a leader and I've been able to influence lives. And these are the leadership experience I've told you before that during my national service, I was able to impact lives. And I was able with that to receive the state award certificate. And I was nominated for the presidential award of the National Youth Service Corps. Chevening is looking for a man that is able to make positive and impactful network. I have been able to make professional network with All Farmers Association of Nigeria, Poultry Farmers Forum of Nigeria, and Agribusiness Entrepreneurs Network, with which I am receiving information about agriculture, receiving information from my agro consultation also. And I'm also contributing through shared learning, troubleshooting, teamwork, and active listening to the challenges of different persons I'm making network with in these associations. And I'm able to give viable information on how to solve these challenges. And Chevening is looking for a person that's going to give back to his community. My career plan, I will say that with my career plan, I'll be able to give back to my community such that at my short-term plan, I plan to reach out to the rural areas where I'm going to teach them about agriculture and give them first-hand information about agriculture. And with this, I'm going to contribute to food security by making sure that farmers switch from subsistence agriculture to commercial agriculture. And my short-term plan is to work with the Ministry of Agriculture that I'm already connecting with, and I'm also going to connect with the Bank of Agriculture. And at my short-term plan, I want to be an advisor on rural development with the Federal Ministry of Agriculture in Nigeria. So, and I have tenacity and resilience, and I have such that once
is it just me
I
that
see my
okay.
scholarships. Thank you.
Okay. Even if I didn't hear the last part, but thank you. Thank you. Martins, what do you think about that answer?
Why are you asking me that kind of question in public? Please, 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 please.
Can I answer?
Please. People that know me know that I beg you. Eh? Okay.
Yeah,
What do I think about the answer? Okay, let me be serious. The fact that you would not waste Chevening's investments is a good point to note. But the fact that you would finish a master's and then go and teach agriculture is something you can already do. You can already be teaching agriculture in the village now, actually, right? So I'm wondering what difference a master's would make in that regard. I'm also wondering what difference a community of about 60,000 people would do and how that would be amplified, right? So in my opinion, I think I have doubts as to why I should not give this to someone else, right? From your answer, right? In my opinion, your answer is not bad. At least you were able to say, you were able to give what Chevening is looking for. You pointed at Chevening is looking for leaders, demonstrated, people can blah, 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 right? But you did not give examples apart from your NYSC and then how you won an award. How you won an award is not a predictor for future plans or success and all of that. So it's a one-time event that you can actually connect to a future plan, right?
And let's remember the question, by the way. What makes you stand out for this scholarship?
Exactly. So what makes you stand out for this scholarship? So how you won an award is just one time, right? It doesn't really make you stand out for this scholarship. Do you get? So there are plenty persons who have won awards who will come for that panel who would not actually stand up for this scholarship. I just feel like your answer should be around, how do I even put this? What makes me stand out for this scholarship? First, if I'm going to respond to that question, I think the first thing I would say is justify why this particular scholarship, right, is going to help me. It's basically saying why Chevening, right? It's just a different way of saying why the Chevening Scholarship, right? And why me as a candidate for the Chevening Scholarship? So why have I chosen Chevening? Why have I chosen Chevening, right? So I'm going to talk about how the opportunities are robust apart from academics and stuff, how that spirit of community is exemplified, how my work could also be amplified by what Chevening is doing. So I will be justifying that with just 3 reasons, right? First, from a career path part, and then I will also be coming from not just the career path part, then I'll also be coming from what my studies will do in my organization, right? Those are 2 things that I would say, particularly as per why I stand out for this scholarship. I think maybe on the extra, if I now see that there is more room to say anything else, I will now be talking about leadership and all that, and how I do not waste opportunities, and how I've always maximized everything that has been given to me, and the multiplier effect, blah, 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 right? So I feel like your answers can be good, but I think my only concern with your answer is that you can be teaching agriculture now without the scholarship. What difference would the scholarship make? You get? That's the point I'm trying to make to you, Korede.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Joseph, your hand is still up.
Okay, thank you. So Corey, first I need to admit that I got an emergency call, that distracted me a bit, but I had something that I just want to point out. You spoke about your NYC and you used the word course, rather than call. So it's call because the one we went to, the one I believe we went to is the National Youth Service Corps, and that's the spelling of CORPS. So once you add E to it, you're talking about a dead body. And I also tell people that Chevening is from the United Kingdom. It's an English-speaking country. They don't mandate you to provide evidence of your English language proficiency, but they expect you to do that in your essay writing and in your interview. So just have that in mind. Almost all the words you use during your interview that you're not sure how to pronounce your university, how to pronounce your courses, how to mention a couple of words that you're not very familiar with, go to the dictionary and check how these things are pronounced. So you go to the interview and you're giving them the correct pronunciation. Your accent, most times, doesn't really matter. You can't be speaking like the British people. But if you speak English that's grammatically correct, they would know. And if you want to tell someone pops when you are in the evening interview, you're talking about a dead body. So let me not overflow that. So my voice is not clear. I'm sorry about that, Francis.
I can hear
Can
you.
other people hear me? Okay. So, but to add to this question, let's even leave cheating aside. When you ask this question that you ask, people mistake it for why are you better than other candidates? That's not the question. Why are you better than other candidates? Shouldn't be an interview question because every candidate is unique. What they're asking you is, why are you unique? Why should we invest in you other than other people? It doesn't mean you're better. They're asking you this question too. It's just like if you are in a relationship and just like an average Nigerian babe, are you sure you love me? What they want is reassurance. They know most times they know you love them. What they want is reassurance. What they want is you to let them understand that, being in your life still means something. So what Chevening is trying to do for any interview you would go with that question is to, first of all, and I think you try to do that in the beginning before I got distracted, you can repeat or you can pitch the values or what Chevening is looking for. If it's for an organization, you're going for a job interview, you can pitch exactly what our role is for. If it's you're going for a financial risk manager or you're going to be the Minister of Finance, you let them understand I know what this role, I know what you want in a typical candidate. That's the first thing you need to do. So let them understand that you know what they want in a typical Chevening candidate. Leadership, networking, have solid study plan, solid career plan. At least if you have these 4 things, you let them understand you have those things. Then the other way is to really tell them that you're a unique candidate. Now, during my own time, I think the first time I was asked this question, and I can't remember exactly how I answered, but I know the points I tried to make. And one of the points is, and Martins said something like that, talk about what you want to be in the future and how whatever it is you want to be in the future would help your country, help you, help Chevening. And you're in a good position to do that thing. Not like someone else might not be able to do it, but you're bringing a unique experience. I spoke about how, for example, being any of the top financial guys in Nigeria, Minister of Finance, is it Securities and Exchange Commission, is it CBN, any of them will require someone that is risk conscious, and that has global experience and global exposure. So just try and revalidate your candidacy, why you deserve that investment. The other one is I had it in mind when I saw that question. So that's just it. And yeah, the other one as well, you can come from you as an individual, okay? And I think I answered that question. Keeping it as well is it depends on if you want to lay emphasis on leadership, the networking, career plan, or study plan. Any of these four themes in the Chevening scholarship application, you can pick one or two of them and lay more emphasis on them. If you want to talk about the networking part, you talk about how you're really genuinely interested in doing this and that, building networks, and intentionally giving back to the Chevening alumni. If you guys have noticed, some countries' Chevening Alumni Association are not as vibrant as they ought to be. So you can use that as you're really passionate about doing this, doing that. You can come from the networking, you can come from the leadership, you can talk about your career plan, you can talk about your study plan. Anyone. The idea is you're not better than the next candidate. You're only letting them understand that you deserve their investment. Elizabeth used that word we usually use in finance, expected return. So anybody investing anything in you, even God, giving you investment, they expect you to be a good human being. So if anybody's making any investment in you, they need return. They expect something from you. What exactly is that they want from you? Telling them you've won an award doesn't make sense at all. I tell people you may not have the opportunity to know all the candidates that applied that submitted essays, but I'm telling you that I know during my time I knew about two or three guys. When I saw their profiles, I almost gave up. I almost decided not to apply anymore because these guys had sophisticated profiles, yet their essays didn't even get to the interview stage. So you don't have any profile, to be honest. You don't have. So don't start telling them you've won this award. It doesn't make sense. You've won this award, you've won that award. That's not what they want to hear. Okay, so I don't know if that's helpful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, before I give my feedback, Chowe, you were saying you're raising up your hand.
Okay, I think everybody has actually made like really great points, but I also want to comment on some of the words that were used. I noticed you said Chevening is looking to I think fund a man. So I think I heard that, like, I think I heard when you said, I think a man, somewhere around a leader that is a man or something. So you want to be very, very careful with your choice of words. Aside your pronunciation, the kind of words that you use, you have to be very careful. Chevening is just looking to fund leaders, that's all. Not a man or a woman, just a leader. And using a man is even more, I don't know the word to use to describe it, but when you say Chevening is looking to fund, if you say Chevening is looking to fund women, maybe emotionally, that might count. Rita, they laugh, already. Emotionally, that might count, in your favor. But if you say Chevening is looking to fund a man, emotionally, that's going to count against you, most of the time. So you just want to be very careful with your choice of word. Then I think I also want to comment on, I think scholars have talked about, they know after the interview that they've actually gotten it. In my case, I had like absolutely no idea. These guys were not smiling. They were serious. The alumni that interviewed me was very, very serious. In short, when I met him during our pre-departure, I had to tell him that you guys were not smiling. And it was like, yeah, most times you never know. So just in case your interview experience, you don't get that vibe from them, that, oh, these guys you don't get that connection. don't really worry yourself so much. I didn't know. No vibe, no smiling. Everybody was serious. And my questions were not straight to the point. I think aside my first question, the other questions were not straight to the point. But what preparation does for you is that it gives you the ability to answer, questions that you might not prepare for. That's what it enables you to do. So some questions that you might not prepare for, you might be able to build on your preparation to give responses to those questions. And another important thing again is that while you're preparing, please find time to rest. For people that are like me, I like to, if I have an exam, if I have an exam, like let's say a week from now, if 2 days to the exam, I'm struggling to sleep, I don't want to sleep. If I try to sleep, I feel guilty. It means I'm not prepared for that exam. And that means the chances of me actually passing that exam are very, very low. So I always like to rest. So about 3 days before my interview, I was most of the time I was on the bed. I would just wake up, I would eat, I would look at my I didn't write my answers word for word. I just had like a structure. So under the list of questions I used to practice, I just wrote, okay, this is the structure I'm supposed to follow. This is how I'm supposed to answer the question. This is what the question is saying. The essence was I was trying to avoid cramming my responses. So that was what I did. So I was able to sleep. I would just sleep. I'll wake up. And when I wake up, I'll just start meditating on, some of the questions and how I'm supposed to respond to them. So what that did for me was that when I got into the, the interview, I was a little bit relaxed. I was not so tense because I had rested like a lot. And then you have to, because I know I spoke to one person that has been in the panel before. I actually made sure I did that. So one of the feedback she gave to me was that most people who don't get the scholarship, one, they don't sound like they want the scholarship. That's one. Two, they sound disconnected from their essay. So they sound disconnected from their essay. They don't sound like they want the scholarship. And most times it shows probably in how confident you sound. You want to be humble, but you have to be confident. Because I remember a case of, I think, someone boasting. Yeah, there are people who go to the panel and then they brag about, like, basically what, I can't remember your name, basically what you were doing, something like that, like bragging, you have this award, you have this, you have that. And then someone begins to think, so why do you want the scholarship anyway? If you already have these things, why am I funding you? You could probably just do well without the scholarship, and let's give it to someone who is confident, humble, and needs the scholarship. So you have to find a way to balance these three things. And then another feedback is, please don't go in there sounding robotic. And I think that's another feedback I got again. You're sounding like you crammed, you rehearsed your response. Yeah, you practice, but when it's looking like you're trying to forcing, something that you've rehearsed into a particular response, it will just, to come off like you've crammed. You've actually not internalized your essay. So something like follow-up question that you might be asked, and you are still finding a way to put Chevening inside the follow-up question, to look as if you're just too robotic. So try as much as possible not to respond like you've crammed all your responses. And so just try to be flexible. Try to expect anything. Your interview, all your questions might be straight to the point, but it's also very possible that your questions might not be straight to the point. Your interview might just be somehow informal, like Blessing. I think Blessed said his interview, how many questions? About 3 questions, and the rest was just follow-up questions about basically what he has done. So you have to prepare for situations like that. You never can tell. I think that's basically it for me for now. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chobe. I think we also need to be cautious of time here. Temi, please, Elizabeth.
Yeah, just to talk back on what Korede said, and also to make sure that I heard the right thing. Although the question wasn't a career plan, but he tried to put in his short-term goals, and he said he would be the advisor to the Ministry of Agriculture upon his return, his short-term goal. I don't know what you mean by being an advisor to the Ministry of Agriculture, but if it is what I think it is, you cannot be that upon your return. What experiences do you have that you would just be handed the key to being the advisor to the Ministry of Agriculture? And these are the things
I said
we are talking
at my
about.
long term. I said
you
at my
said
long term.
short term. I wrote it down. That's why I said let me mention it. So just in case you made that mistake, you said
Mm.
term, yes. So it's not realistic, and that's the kind of things we are talking about. So you have to be careful when you're talking like that.
Okay.
That's what I want to point out.
All right. So I think all of us have given you tips, but now let me tell you what I think you did good. I like the way you structured your answer, to be very honest. I like the way you structured your answer, even if I don't think that your answers in itself, like of them in itself, your answer in itself does not carry the kind of weight it should carry with that kind of question. Because that question is a sell yourself question, in my opinion, like Joseph said. So let me look at the question again and tell you how I think. What makes you stand out for this scholarship? So when someone asks me what makes me stand out for this scholarship, it's like saying, why Chevening and why you? The first thing I'm going to mention is leadership. What makes me stand out for this scholarship? I believe I am the global leader that Chevening is looking for. Why? Because I know that Chevening is very interested in leaders who are making a difference in like their industries or in their communities, and they intend to equip these leaders for global impact. I believe I am such a leader. I have made XYZ impact, and I believe that the Chevening Scholarship would further amplify my reach, or would give me the global audience, or give me the global platform I need to amplify my reach. That's why I believe, that I am, let me use the exact words of the question. That's one of the reasons why I believe I stand out for this scholarship. Second, my career goals and values align specifically, what am I speaking? Specifically with Chevening's, goals, especially as regards gender equality. First of all, Chevening does what? Chevening has given over half of its scholarships to women. This is evidence from, their statistics on, maybe 65% of the scholarship being awarded to women, and, maybe the remaining 45 being awarded to men. This shows that our values on gender equality are quite aligned. This is why I believe that I deserve the Chevening Scholarship, or I'm well suited for the Chevening Scholarship, because I would amplify this value on gender equality, doing X, Y, Z. Number 3, my career goals. I require the Chevening Scholarship. Why I believe I'm well suited for Chevening Scholarship? Because I require Chevening Scholarship to X, Y, Z. On my return, I'm going to do this. You can even link, see, the Holy Spirit is, God. See, you can even link your career goal with what I just said. Remember, I just said now that I believe I'm well suited for the Chevening Scholarship because they give women, equal opportunity. They're very gender diverse and gender inclusive. I can now say, because Chevening does this, because Chevening is so gender inclusive, and because my career goal is centered around ensuring a gender inclusive world. Are you seeing now? I've already made it flow. I've brought that nexus. I believe that the Chevening Scholarship is perfect for me, because when I return, in order to ensure a gender inclusive world, I intend to do XYZ. I intend to amplify the reach of my non-profit organization from community level to national level. And I will not be able to achieve this without the Chevening Scholarship. So all this is a way for you to. So yes, you're doing this same thing I'm doing, but you're not doing it with the same level of confidence, number one, and with the same level of belief. Like, you're not that conviction. You're not doing it with the same level of conviction and structure. So I would tell you to go these same answers you have, minus that award part and some other parts that I feel like are necessary. Go back and restructure it. Go back. That your answer is good, but it can be exceptional. Why stop at good when your answer can be exceptional? Go back and restructure that answer. You are on the right path, but that answer is not giving yet. It's not giving what it's supposed to give. It's on its way, but it's not yet there. So I feel like you did okay with your answer. That's why I told you to answer. Let me even hear what you have to say. before I know what I'm telling you. You did okay with your answer, but your answer can be way greater. Someone says,
Thank you very much, Rita.
Very much. I know.
Joel, your hand is raised.
No, that was for the other time now. You put it down.
Okay. Okay, Rita, you're about to read the questions in the chat box.
there's a
bef-
question that says,
Yeah.
tell us about a time where you failed as a leader and how you overcame it. What's the question? Is the question, okay, brief on how to answer this? I feel like this question is very straightforward. Tell us the time you failed as a leader. You still use your STAR approach. You mention a project that you're doing. You mention a situation you were faced with. You mention a task that you needed to do, you needed to do when you were faced with that situation. You mentioned the action that you did, to correct this or to correct the situation. But now when it comes to your results, you did not get the results you were hoping to get. In fact, the challenge could have come either at your action or your result. Either maybe when you wanted to act, something stopped you. For instance, let's say I'm a gender equality advocate in Kano State. I observed that, children were not going to school. Why? Because their parents did not believe in, female education. Their parents didn't believe in female education. And I sought to change this narrative to ensure, a greater number of girl child enrollment in Kano State. What did I intend to? What was my task? My task is to rally the leaders around, the emir, the people, the leaders and chiefs in the community, in, say, Boro local government of Kano State, for instance. Now, my action was to now do this, Abi. However, I cannot say, in my attempt to reach out to these leaders, I encountered a challenge. They refused to take meetings with me and refused to listen to my proposal because I was a woman. So this is a problem. They don't want to listen to you talk because you're a woman. They believed, as a result of their culture and religion, that men are better suited to, leadership roles. And as such, they refused, to take meetings with me and listen to my proposal. I changed this narrative, or I solved this problem by liaising with Mr. Ahmed Sule. I'm saying this because it was a problem I encountered, actually. I changed this problem, or I solved this problem or this challenge by liaising with my human rights, law lecturer at the Kano State Law School, Mr. Ahmed Sule, whose influence, went beyond the four walls of our law school, to his network with emirs and chiefs and all this. Through Mr. Ahmed Sule, I was able to, secure a meeting with these people. I also encountered a language challenge. As a result of the fact that I was not Hausa, I could not, speak to these people and convince them of the need to, implement my proposal. So at this meeting, with the help of Mr. Ahmed Sule as interpreter and with his access, to these people, I was able to speak to them, convince them of this plan. And as a result of this, say 30% of the parents there, or I don't know how many percent of the parents there, allowed their female children to get enrolled in schools. This affected the number of girl children or female children that were enrolled in school in the year 20 so. How was this reflected? This was reflected in the newspaper, or this was reflected in, Punch, Period Times also reported on the marked increase of girl child enrollment in Kano Law School, Kano State. So I was able to solve this challenge. So these are the ways you can answer this. You can answer it at your action point, or maybe you were able to even carry out the action, but the result you were expecting to reach 80 people, but something made you reach only 30 people. You say, oh, I noticed or I realized that I was not able to reach so and so people because of this. Hence, I carried out a second project, or I changed this narrative by doing this or doing that. So that's a way to approach that question. Can it be an example of, well, yes. I think outside your essays, I would prefer that you use an example from your essay, to be honest. In my opinion, what do you guys think? I think I would prefer an example from the essay. But if you don't have an example from the essay, well.
Okay. That's a really pretty great response, Rita. So I know for want of time, several of us are joining from different time zones, and I have been on several calls like since morning. So I want us to wrap up this session really fast. So let's try to do this. So we would give you last sort of preparation tips. Each scholar will try to give you what they think you should prepare. They will try to answer maybe 2 or 3 more questions within the next 15 minutes, right? So Joseph, Rita, Elizabeth, Olenechowe, I think there's another question here. It says, what kind of questions can we ask them at the end of the interview?
That one, you go figure them out.
It's a personal thing.
Okay. Joseph, Alpha, what do you think about that kind of question? What kind of question can we ask them at the end of the interview?
Okay. Well, I think you should ask them reasonable questions. That's where I want to start from. Don't ask them questions that they expect you to find on the internet. And don't ask them stupid questions such as how much is the stipend?
Hey God.
People ask that.
Yeah, people actually do ask that. So ask them reasonable question. Ask them question. And again, if you're going for any interview, Chevening interview to be very specific, you expected to read meaning into certain questions and to take advantage of every opportunity. That's also an opportunity to show that you've done research and you're really enthusiastic about this opportunity. If you are going to meet a lady and you want to ask her out, and maybe you guys are dating, you can't ask her.
Just say, what kind of ask ladies out example have you been giving this evening?
Man, what's the issue?
I don't understand.
You are a single man. I'm trying to help you, man. Trying to help you.
I don't blame you.
You can't be asking, for example, Rita Elizabeth, a world-class leader, rubbish question, have you eaten? So you can ask, babe, can we talk about what you want to do in the future? Can you tell me about the challenges you face?
Hey Rita, can we talk about world hunger? Is that the kind of question we should be?
So my point is you need to ask Chevening a question that will make you come off as someone that is really interested, that has really done research, and that is reasonable. So you just have to figure out that question. Except you want to ask me the kind of questions that I asked, then we can do that. We can talk about that later. But that's just it. Don't ask stupid questions. Don't ask how much is the stipend. Don't ask when are you going to get back to us, when it's clear from the timeline that you know when. Some questions don't really make sense. So that's just it. Then okay. You can lay more info. I wanted to talk about the last question. I wanted to contribute to your response, but you can go on since you don't have time.
I wanted to add what Alice said in one of our videos. Don't ask questions that are on the Chevening website. All these questions that are in FAQs. It makes you come across as unserious. Don't ask them. Further, you don't necessarily have to ask one kind of world-changing, intellectual breaking, something question. It's not that deep sometimes. So as long as your question is reasonable and it makes sense, like it's flowing, you mustn't be one intellectual. So in your opinion, how do we solve world hunger for poverty-stricken children in Somalia? It's not necessary. You can, for instance, my question, I prepared a question, and please, yes, you must always prepare a question before going to your interview. I prepared a question, but I forgot my question, to be honest. But as God will have it, while we were there, one of my interviewers said something. And then I flowed from what she said. We're just having a chat. It was a very laid back atmosphere. Once my interview had finished, they told me, oh yeah, that water that you rejected that we offered you, yeah, drink it now. You are finished answering. Calm down, drink water. I was like, thank you. I drank, And then one person said, oh, I've forgotten what she said. And I was like, oh, she was like, do you have any other questions for us? I was like, oh yes, please. You mentioned something earlier about finding it difficult to what did she say? She said she found it difficult to acclimatize in Nigeria because of the food. However, that she, but now she's getting used to it and the weather and everything. I was like, okay, so what advice would you give me? Because I've never been out of the country. This is my first time out of Nigeria. What advice? How would I cope better? Since I'm not going to be with family, and then when it comes to food, she's like, oh, that family well, that she can't really say much about that, that of course, you know, but that for the food, that the weather, since I'm going to be in London, the way she answered on my question made me know I had been picked, because she said, since you're going to be in London, I'm sure she didn't even know. You know, it's not going to be that cold. But if you're in somewhere like Scotland, you chose University of Edinburgh, right? Oh, if you eventually pick your third choice, you're going to be in Scotland and it's going to be super, super cold. So you have to be ready for that. She also told me that the food, that in London, there are a lot of African stores, African restaurants, that she don't have a problem with food, you know. So that was my question at the end of the day. And after that, they asked, do you have any other question? And I said no, because I felt like I had asked the question already. There was no need to ask that my very serious question that I had planned, even if I did, to be honest, I had forgotten it. So the point I'm trying to make is it doesn't have to be like one kind serious question. Let it not be a stupid question, right? Read the room, understand what's happening in your interview before you ask the kind of question you want to ask, and make sure it's not a question that is like easily accessible on the Chevening website.
Okay. Jovel was raising his hand, and Elizabeth.
Yeah, I think Rita already said the things I wanted to say. One of them was to read the room. So you might prepare for a particular question. But if I think I prepared for a very, a question to lighten the mood of, just to lighten the mood of the panel. But when I saw their faces, I just told myself, this is not the right time to ask that kind of question. So I didn't ask that question. So I asked only one. I noticed they were also tired. I was the last person. So I asked only one question instead of about 2 or 3 questions. And then, like Rita also said, you can also, when you listen to them, you could get questions to ask. I know there was a session we organized, I think some weeks ago, and 2 alumni, I think Esther and Abigail, they mentioned how the questions they asked came from the conversation they had with the panelists. So that was how they didn't even come with any, question in mind. They just asked more like a follow-up question. Oh, you said this, so how did you do it? Just like Rita had said. So you can also prepare to ask questions from, the responses and conversation you have during your interview. That can also be a good question, but it doesn't really have to be that serious. Mine was, I think I was trying to ask them, I think I said, there's global inflation. The UK is not also, spared. So is the inflation factored into the stipend? That was the question I asked. And they were like, oh no, they are not sure. I think the lead panelist said like she was not sure that she was going to, no, that I should ask, I should send an email. And I'm like, I cannot send an email to anybody. So I didn't send an email. But the alumni there said, yes, they always increase every year. So during this time, it was increased. So yeah.
Thank you very much, Owen.
That makes sense.
Elizabeth, your hand is raised.
Yeah, just on the question issue, and just to say that I also prepared questions, but the questions I asked was not questions I prepared. And one of the questions I asked was this: since victory, you've been asking this question, so here is it. I asked them, they asked me a question. One of my interview question was, how am I able to manage conflicting priorities, and how would I be conflicting priorities in the UK, since I will be studying and engaging in other things. So from that question, I asked them that I first started with research, something I have found out on my own. I said I know that each university has counseling sessions for students. Each university, they prepare students mentally for the rigor of the program. I know that, yeah, and my university has that. But I said within the Chevening Awards, especially the Chevening office in London, are there counselors that we can reach out to within Chevening Awards office in London that we can speak to when it's getting tough? We can speak to when we can't really cope sometimes. And they said that no, they do not have that in the Chevening office in London, but then they would put it to work. Another question I asked them, because my alumni also mentioned that while she was in London, it was it was struggle for her and everything, and she has gone back to the UK a couple of times. So I asked her, what is the top 5? I've seen a lot of advices from people. What is the top 5 advice you give me going to the UK? That's it. So it's not that deep. You don't have to solve world hunger in your questions. Just go.
All right, fantastic. I think my comments will now be around a couple of things, and I will ask the scholars to give last preparatory tips or whatever before we close. My first comment is around throwing you off balance. When you enter your interview session and then they throw you off balance, what do you do, right? the goal is, one of the scholars mentioned how you should not be sounding robotic. Because if you are sounding robotic, my goal as a panelist will be to ensure that I throw you off balance and I throw you off those things that you think you have prepared and those questions you've asked or those rehearsals you've been having. There is a high tendency that all the preparations that you have been doing, all the mock interviews we have had with you so far, you might not even be asked any of those questions, or not some of those questions that you really thought you prepared for and all of that. But you'll be asked other things that are related, or maybe you ask one or two of them. Whenever you are thrown off balance, that's your time to show that you can think on the spot. That's your time to show that you can create meaningful responses. You can have a conversation about your story and your track record, right? And then Chove mentioned that don't go there and be boasting like you have it all and you do not really need the scholarship in a bid to show or exaggerate your accomplishments. That's also something to be very, very careful about, in my opinion. In my opinion, I feel like anybody who gets the Chevening Scholarship, whether on first trial, second trial, third trial, fourth trial, or whatever, right? One of the clear things that they should be able to demonstrate is, can they justify their choices from school to introduction to the career plan to etc., right? So there has to be justification for each point that you'll be making. So please do not forget that, right? Also, I also want to talk about reality buffers. For me, I am not a fan of how I will start to say things like, I'm going to solve gender equality or gender inequity or several words like that, right? The reason I'm saying this is because I do not feel that one person's effort can solve that kind of thing in reality, or realistically speaking. Even world hunger will not be solved by one man's efforts, right? There will still be hunger in the world. But my work can move towards the direction of reducing it, right? So I believe in using clear terms that show that my work can move towards the direction of reducing it than saying that I'm going to do this, right? And be very strong on it. So try to see that the language you are using in your communication is quite clear, right? I think those are like two things that I would say, right? And then you would encounter several approaches online. You're going to see people that tell you, use the STAR approach to respond to your questions, use the CAR approach, use the SDRO approach. Do not let that become something that is hung up in your head and then you are trying to like put that in all your answers and all that. The point of all of this is everybody has something that's unique to them. Be able to tell your story in such a way that you can make your points from A to B to C clearly, if it's going to help for you to stick with one approach. All of these things that we're giving you, they are just principles that you should have at the back of your mind. But it is for you to make them your own with a sense of understanding, to say, okay, I understand I'm supposed to talk about what I've done. I understand I'm supposed to talk about context. I understand I'm supposed to talk about maybe the lessons I learned from that particular, the results I achieved. That's the point we have been making in all of this. We're not trying to create confusion in your head with all the several approaches that we are saying to you. We are saying, be unique in your story. We are saying, be clear in what you are presenting. We are saying, whatever approach you choose, remember that there is never going to be an end to your preparation. At the end of the day, me, I wasn't very confident in my interview outcome. For example, it was my first interview. It was my only interview. I was very confident in my interview outcome for just one singular reason. And that was the reason that every time they asked me something that I wasn't familiar with, as they were probing and probing and probing further, I would say that, oh, I didn't remember that, or I didn't know that, or the way I did it is a different framework that I am familiar with that's done in so and so place. And so because I responded in that manner, trying to own exactly what I've done and to say exactly what I've done, right? I had doubts and questions in my mind about how I would have been perceived. But nonetheless, every other thing I responded from a point of 100% certainty in my work, 100% certainty in the things I have done, right? Always show that, okay, I wasn't exaggerating or trying to blow the horn. It was as it was done and it was verifiable, that they could even look up and they would find it online, or they could speak to the partners or the people I had mentioned their names, and there is evidence there, right? That's the point I'm trying to make. So these are my last words. And I'm hoping that soon in June, I will be able to pop wine and champagne with you guys. I'm going to I'll be able to pop wine and champagne with you guys. I actually have a bottle of wine here, and I actually have a cup here, right? So the point is, I want to celebrate with you guys. I want to get a lot of good news, right, from every single one of you. So please do us proud. I'm going to hand over to the scholars to do their last words and closing remarks, and then we're going to take a screenshot. Thank you, guys.
Let
So
me go next.
Joseph, Rita, Chove, and the rest. Yes, please.
My last words. There's so many ladies on this call. Yeah, okay. And guys. All right. My last word would be dress very well. Don't take that for granted. Dress is something that makes you very comfortable, but dress smart. Dress the best. Dress well. Really, how you dress is also affects how confident you are. So if you are wearing something that makes you good, you will be confident. You'll be confident in it. So dress properly, dress well, tidy up, dress neat, press your clothes very well. It's important. I have seen someone go for the Chevening interview with rumpled clothes. Try as much as possible to prepare, show that you are prepared for it. So dress properly. I know I'm not supposed to say that because obviously you guys are scholars in the making, but it's important to also reiterate on that. The other thing I would say is that concerning the being thrown off balance, if you are asked a question that throws you off balance, it's all right. It is okay to take a breather. It's okay to take a minute to refresh. It's okay to take a minute to think on it. It's okay to take a minute to drink water and sit back, fold your hands, relax. It is all right. They understand these things. So don't also jump into wanting to defend your work or defend yourself and then you say rubbish. One example of that is it happened to me. It also happened to a past scholar, Kuseme, and it's relating to what Martin said. She said she wanted to solve one thing in the legal profession, and they said how. Why do you think you can solve it? Why do you think you as a person, as a unit, you can solve it? What of other people in your field that are currently in the field? Are you saying they are not doing enough work in that field? So she was thrown off balance, but she was able to rebound. And how was she able to rebound? She had to collect herself and admit that, all right, this is what I said wrong, but this is how I want to approach it. So if you're asked a question that throws you off balance, it's fine. Please drink water, drink a lot of water, and ensure also not to spill water when you are drinking water. Don't be, if your hands are shaking, avoid the glass cup. Don't carry it. It's okay. Don't worry. Don't drink water. Drink your own saliva. If your hands are shaking, avoid that glass cup because it can fall, it can break, then it will be a disaster. So those are like the little tips I have. And also finally, thank your panel. Thank them after. Thank you very much. Thank them. It's a conversation. They've spent time. They are also tired, especially if you are the last person to be interviewed. You will see it on their faces. They are tired. It's been a long day. It's been a long. Thank them for their time. Thank them for, just be polite, really, in everything, and pray. Involve God. However way you know how to pray before your interview. Pray before you enter. Pray before the day. Pray. Involve God, and God will bless all of you. Peace out.
Let me just flow from what you said. Thank them, oh. Well, it's not even like it's that deep, but just thank them. Because I told them, thank you so much for the opportunity to interview with you today. I'm so happy. Even if I don't get the scholarship, I'm so excited that the process I've gone through in my head, I'm like, hey, do not listen to that. I want it because I was like, even if I don't get the scholarship, the process, I have grown, I have Kenika in my mind. I'm like, God, please, I reject. I can't. I bind. I get it, please. But yeah, it just shows that you're polite and all that. Yeah. So what will I say? Let anybody listening to you have no doubt that you want it. Like, let there be no doubt. And when I say let there be no doubt that you want it, it's not that you're kneeling down to say, please give me Chevening, please give me Chevening. From the work you've done, from your answers, from your knowledge of your industry, from your knowledge of Chevening, as in, let it be clear to even the devil. Even if the devil wants to come in between you and it, let the devil even say, no. no, no, this person I've tried. No, I cannot cast this one. Let it be that good. Be that confident. Do you understand? Let your passion show. Let your conviction for what you're doing show. Let it show. Find a way to let it show. That's the first thing I would say. There's one thing that cannot, you see, passion cannot be denied. So let it show. That's number one. Number two, as you're dressing your best, make sure you're super comfortable. I feel like one of the reasons I did not get Chevening earlier is because of my skirt store. I keep saying it. That is like nobody can tell me no, aside the fact that of course I did not answer to like standard, I didn't answer well. But I went in already frazzled. Because when I say my skirt tore, like the sleeves tore from the back. That skirt is so fine, but it tore up. So when I was walking one side. Like I couldn't, even enter the interview room properly, I was just walking like this. To leave the room, I was walking with my back, like spirit. So, my dear, wear something, as you're wearing that amazing outfit that makes you feel confident, make sure it's also very comfortable. Make sure you can breathe, you can move your arms, it's not too tight, it's well ironed. Then put your best foot forward. Once you enter, your interview starts not when you start talking, but from when you enter that British High Commission gate. That's when your interview starts. So already start sitting like a global scholar when you enter. If you're wearing heels, which of course I hope is going to be comfortable. Yeah, senator is allowed, Henry. Senator is allowed. You can wear traditional wear, just look smart. From when you yeah, from when you enter, sit down. Like already start. Pretend you're in the UK, go. In your mind, you're in the UK already. So just sit down properly, converse with people around you politely, smile when you go into anybody that comes to me. Oh, hello, hi, how you doing? I'm well, thank you. You never know if your panelist is even sitting in the reception with you. You never know. It has happened to me twice. So smile, converse. You're already being interviewed in your mind. Get yourself in that zone already. I'm already being interviewed. Once you enter the room where your panelists are, start smiling already, even before you sit down. They'll collect it from you at the gate. They'll collect your phone at the gate. You drop it. Start smiling already, greet everybody. Hello, good afternoon, good afternoon, good afternoon. And stand, wait for them to tell you, oh, welcome, Rita, sit down. Then you sit down, you're still smiling, not smiling like a fool, but just smile. I don't know how to put it, but just, smiling normally and waiting for them to actually now start asking you, your mind is there, you are present. Second, me, I always, like Kemi said, pray. Hey, God, pray like you have not prepared any single thing, just pray. Muslim, Christian, pray. And for someone like me that worship works for, worship and just enjoy. Another thing is enjoy this process. Do you know that this last time I applied there, I don't even know how to put it, but I enjoyed it. If you're an atheist, if you are going to conjure the universe, conjure me. I don't know what you're going to conjure, sure. But I was ready. Be ready to go to the UK. Start seeing UK things. Start seeing, immerse yourself. Just be ready. The frequency you are even emitting, even the universe will know that this one doesn't want to be in this Nigeria again. Let me just remove her. As in, just see yourself in the UK already. You will make it, you see. God's grace to all of you.
Thank you very much, Rita. Joseph, Chover, any scholars could raise their hand. Any participants could also raise their hand if they want to share any closing remark. Yeah, somebody was about to speak.
I think I wanted to say something.
Okay. I think someone asked about wearing native. I think it's very important that you dress very smart and also very comfortable. In my case, I don't like putting on suits. I know suit is like very smart, but I don't feel comfortable when I'm like on suit and tie. So I wore this very special black native. It's very special to me. I wear it mostly for special occasions. So I wore that black native and my sandal. I don't like shoes. I love sandal and my palm slippers. So I wore my sandal and I was very, very comfortable and I felt very confident. So your dressing is very important. your interview starts from the gates. I think there was something someone at the security said to me. The guy was like, you resemble, it's in pidgin. It was like, you resemble person, maybe like say, go get a scholarship. That was what he said. And, that word from you actually made me feel better and feel confident. So it starts from the gates, greet people, engage with people at the gates, and just try to relax yourself. Also, during your interview, very important, try to balance between humility and confidence. It's very important that you show that you are very, very confident and you deserve this scholarship, but also you need the scholarship as well. You don't want to sound like you deserve, but you don't need it. You have to sound like you need the scholarship and you deserve it. So try to balance all of that. If you don't understand any question, please ask them to repeat. Very important. Don't just jump into questions. If you don't understand it, ask them to repeat every question if you don't understand the question. And try to also manage your time as well. So time management is very important when responding to questions. So you don't want them to log off. So you're talking and then they're already tired, because listening is a lot. It takes a lot to actually listen when someone is speaking. So also try to manage your time. I think that's basically it from me. Thank you. So Joseph.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you very much. Honestly, I don't think I have anything else to add, because all the tips I had in mind, maybe Martin would say something and he would take out one and say that's okay, -1. Then Rita, -3. Elizabeth, -7. So I think everything has been said. Except you guys want me to do a recap, then it's the ones I can remember and I had in mind. It's about just showing passion, let them understand that you really want this thing. And whether it's God, you believe in God, you're a Christian, religious, or an atheist, if they see that you really want the scholarship, it may even be the only reason why they want to give it to you. And those three guys there, they have a lot of influence, in determining what later happens, because most times the scores are not altered. So they score you right there and then. They're not allowed to score you after. So they can score you immediately after you leave. Most times they score you while you're presenting or giving your answers. Okay. About being, if you're religious, pray. And I think it's really important if you understand that anything can happen to anybody. Rita's case, I don't know if she prayed enough the first time, but it could still happen to us. And maybe after the intense worship the second time,
Joseph, what are you saying?
It's true.
So
if you like, don't be praying and don't work.
Yes. So and Elizabeth said the same thing. So just my point is, there's a place for preparation and practice, and there's a place for prayer and hoping that things go well, pan out well, because God's grace is, I don't know, it supersedes everything else. Then the part of dressing, I always tell my mentees as well. I'm a suit person because I work in the corporate space, but I bought a new suit for my chevening interview. Like I bought a new expensive suit for my chevening interview, brand new pair of shoe, because I needed to look the part. I needed to feel like this is color already, So if you can't, fine. Ogene is not a suit person. Martins wasn't, and there was something that actually showed that they wanted the scholarship. So if you don't want to put on a suit, fine. But if you are a suit person, please go for a suit. I can just ask, you can call me, I can tell you some brands you buy. Then always go with a white shirt. Okay. If you're going for an interview like that, you don't need to wear something so colorful. Go with a white shirt, then any official color, navy blue, ash, black. I'll just tell you the colors later. Um, then the other one is about I'm looking for the phrase to put it, but your interview starts while you enter the gate. The way they even come downstairs to ask you, are you Joseph? Are you here for the interview? The way you respond, the way you smile, the way you walk so elegantly, very important. Okay. You have to look the part. Then the part of trying to strike a balance between humility and pride, or being overconfident and being confident. Extremely, extremely important. if I were on the panel and I see that you're sounding so boastful about what you've done, and the question I'll ask myself, if you're so boastful about what you can do and what you've done, why are you here? You can just go on, and just you don't need the scholarship. Then if you're also here and you're not even sure what you've done or what you don't even have a clear vision for the future, you're not really ambitious about the future, or you're not confident in your ability, I'll be like, no, this is not a mark of a leader. About may tips plenty, I beg. This is 15 past 8. So let me not bore you guys. Just go back to the recording. But all the tips here make sense and try and take them seriously. One last thing I would want to say is in response to Victory's question. And I think that was what I wanted to answer before I forget. And his question is about tell us when or why you failed as a leader. I think that was the question. And he's asking if you can bring in new examples. Well, most times, all the examples in your essay may not demonstrate how you failed as a leader, because what you're trying to teach in your essay is success story. So it's how you excelled as a leader, what you've done. So it's clearly, yes, you have to bring in a new example. I don't know if anybody has an example in his or her essay where the person started talking about when you failed. And I like the way Rita tried to answer that question. And if you ask, tell us when you failed as a leader. That failed there, it's the keyword. You can't be very successful and you're giving that story. So either you failed or you achieved partial success or half success. So if you want to be smart or you can't remember exactly when you failed, then you can give half success. You wanted to achieve 500,000, for example, the equivalent in pounds. But instead of 500,000 you achieved 200,000 or 100,000. That's a partial success. It can serve as failure. Then you can come out as plain as possible if you really failed and tell them when you failed. If I were on the panel, I think I would appreciate someone that really told me that they failed. And in my first interview, I gave that example. And that's when I was in SUG in UN, and I told them a project, something I wanted to, do.
Learn French with great French TV.
Rita, what's going on?
They learn French. Don't catch it. So, so if you have a story that's actually a failure story, just tell it. The most important thing is the efforts you put in, ensuring that wasn't really a failure. That you can't start out something and you're looking forward to failing. Okay, then drawing out the lessons and reemphasizing that this is what you've learned, and you're going to ensure that you make better decisions in the future. You tackle the similar problem in this manner, that manner. So, for example, when I was asked why I failed, I was also asked how I intended to cope in the United Kingdom. And one of the reasons why I failed during my university days, I even failed a course, a module, rather. At that, I didn't achieve the project, and I failed a module on top of that. Instead of graduating with a high 2-1, I graduated with a low 2-1, if there's anything like that. And I told them as I'm going to the United Kingdom, I know I may have, it's an intense, academic experience I'm going to have, coupled with other stuff I need to do. So from the learnings here, I'll use those learnings and ensure I make better decisions. I manage my time. I delegate where possible. I do this, I do that. Very key. So at the end of the day, guys, I'm genuinely rooting for all of you. Chevening can change your lives. Chevening can change your lives. And it may just be that 20 minutes, 30 minutes that will decide. Anthony Joshua, people were saying he fought for 5 minutes and he won millions of dollars. But nobody would care, how much effort and sacrifice went into those 5 minutes. Exactly what you're doing now. Most of you have been here. I've not joined all the sessions, but I know a couple of sessions I've joined, I've seen familiar names. So it will be really sad that you put out all this effort, make the sacrifices, joining sessions, every session you are joining, like you are jumping from one political party to the other, like a typical Nigerian politician. You are doing that, sacrificing your data, doing all these things, and you end up not winning the scholarship. It is painful. So I really wish you guys all the best. Chevening will most likely take between 40 and 50 scholars. on average every year. Just try your best that your efforts don't, become futile. Okay. I wish you all the best. And all of us, Lisbeth, Martins, Rita, okay, all of us, we are rooting for you guys. And we hope, you make us proud and you make Chevening proud as well. Thank you.
All right, that brings us to the end of this session. This session would not have been possible without these amazing scholars, Rita, Joseph, Elizabeth, Munira, Favor, Charles, lots of other scholars are not here, and we're not sure. So we want you to please put on your cameras as we take a screenshot and we end this session. From Global Wins, this is the last session we'll be having that is group and all of that. Every other thing that would have to go on will be with you and the scholars on their personal DMs and all of that. You have access to send them messages in their DMs. Please, you're free to do that, right? You can send us questions if you have. We'll try to respond. We cannot possibly exhaust all of these tips in one night. So let's please put on our cameras as we wrap up this session so that you guys can go home. I know that those from East Africa are 2 hours ahead and it's already almost midnight over there in East Africa. And those of you in Mozambique and Tanzania and stuff like that. Okay. I'll wait for 1 more minute for those of us turning on our camera. Rita, you better, okay, your camera is on. You have been threatening me that better put on your camera there before you're arrested. Okay. Okay. If your interview is this week, please do not pressure yourself or go and become anxious. Like Chove has always been saying, if you hear Chove speak, it tells you that he's a very calm person. He's a calm guy. You need to be calm like Chove. You need to go and stay in a hotel. Yeah?
Sorry, have you taken the screenshots?
Not yet. People are not turned on their cameras yet, so I'm waiting 1 more minute. These sessions would not have been possible without my amazing Osato Ame Okomose. Thank you very much, Osato Ame Okomose. I am rooting for you perfectly. I know you are getting all the amazing support from the amazing scholars, and that's peace of mind. Janet and a couple of few others that I know outside of this place. Ngozi, I wish you all guys all the best. So I'm about to take the screenshot. 1, 2, 3. Can you say Chevening? Chevening. Chevening.
Chevening.
You're not saying Chevening. I don't know. What you want to say Chevening?
Chevening.
If I hear chair again from anybody.
If you don't say Chevening, you will not win scholarship.
Chevening.
Chevening.
Shout Chevening 3 times.
Chevening.
The next set of scholars will shout Chevening 2 times. Say Chevening.
Chevening.
Okay, guys. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it for me.
Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you. Bye.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.